I looked at your theme for 2023 Economic Summit. I don't know whether what we've done can be called reform. If you look at the meaning of reform, which I had done, which I did a few weeks back, this is not reform. It's a restructuring and a radical restructuring. And there's no going back. Now we've got to realize this. What is taking place now is something that can't be turned back. We've got to work within this new policy frame. We have made significant progress in the efforts to restructure its debt in order to restore debt sustainability. The government, along with its financial and legal advisors, have been engaged in good faith negotiations with all its creditors over the last several months. All creditor groups have been very cooperative and constructive in their engagement with us. With regard to the official creditors, Sri Lanka engaged in negotiations with the Official Creditor Committee and in parallel with China Exim Bank. Contrary to many expectations, Sri Lanka has been able to successfully navigate this process due to its transparency and good faith engagement. China Exim Bank was the first to provide Sri Lanka with agreement in principle on specific financial terms to restructure the country's debt. We expect the Official Creditors Committee to provide a similar agreement in principle very shortly. With this, we expect that the IMF board will be in a position to conclude the first review of Sri Lanka's EFF program within the month of December. Discussions with external private creditors are ongoing in parallel, and we expect to reach agreement on specific restructuring terms with them very shortly. We are mainly relying on a long-term extension of the debt. But what does this mean? The economic principles on which we will operate for the future is what has gone into these net negotiations. If we go away from it, then the creditors are entitled to act. So we are now fixed. We have to work within this frame, within this agreement. I thought to myself, what should I do? Is this correct or not? That we have this framework which we agreed. I had no problem with the framework. I could agree with many of those things. And I have the view we should have done it earlier. Then I thought to myself, look, if I don't do this, no one is going to do it. And next time, if I don't have this system, if we don't agree, we don't have a long-term agreement, the next government, someone will want to turn it back and give the goodies. We can't be auctioning non-existing resources all the time. That's what Lee Kuan Yew said of us. So we are all within this framework. It's a radical restructuring. So that's the first point I want to make to you all. We have to all realize what it is, a very, very competitive economy, and I think we have to do it. We all agree. These are decisions I had to take in private. You want me to have a consensus. How can I have consensus with people who ran away and didn't take responsibility? Neither political parties nor trade unions. You think they would have allowed me to do one of these steps? So there is no question of me having a consensus with them or the IMF. Forget about me. You tell them we have to agree with it. For how long are we going to be a beggar nation? That's my view as a Sri Lankan. Are we going to be beggars? Going and asking other people to help us out each time because we didn't do our maths correctly? Because we are not willing to export? Because we are not willing to be competitive? So we are asking other countries to give their taxpayers money because we had it wrong. You can't go on like this. For us, this is the last chance. Either we've got to take it or bust it. With this framework, we are entering into a new political era also. Everyone has to make their policies within it. If they are going to break it, they must tell the country. I don't think any of us wants to go back to the queues, to what we went through. So the country has to agree on it. If the country is agreed, the others will go along. So you all have to decide whether you want to agree on it or not. If you do, tell the others. So this is for economic stabilization. That alone is not enough. After we stabilize the economy, what are we going to do? Are we going to again have a balance of payment deficit and unable to balance our budget? Then we will have this again within 10 years. I can give it to you in writing. If you go on like this, you will have another crisis within 10 years, maybe earlier. So we have to change. As I say, we have to be a competitive economy, export-oriented economy, but we've a digitalized economy and a green economy. You have to look anew. When we came in 77, we thought we wanted a new economy. We started the free trade zone. No one thought. Who thought that we were going to do apparels? So this is what we are planning now. So I just you very, very briefly. You will all have to be very competitive, either to compete with imports or to export. We are having free trade agreements, which means in the next 5 to 15 years, the tariffs will have to be adjusted and that will have to be downwards. That's where competition is going to come.